Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Chapter 1 Transmigrator of the H.Y.D.R8 Hail, Hydra. There was a slogan that sounded in unison within the room. Across the door, the voice sounded oppressive. Leo Irwin, who was waiting outside the room, heard the slogan and knew that the meeting was going to end. In this secret base of Hydra, there would be a regular meeting every morning and every night. Of course, with Leo's position, he could attend the meeting, but every night he had a much more critical task. So he was only required to participate in the morning meeting. Leo waited patiently by the side of the door, deliberately standing straight. After a while, the door creaked open, and a tall and coquettish woman came out of the room. Her blood-red lips seemed to be releasing a fatal temptation. A strong desire appeared in Leo's eyes. At the same time, he skillfully raised his hand and shouted, "Hail, Hydra!" But the coquettish woman ignored him and went straight down along the corridor. A strong white man came out of the room as well. His hair was hanging down to his neck and had an arm that reflected metallic luster under the light. Leo timely revealed an envious look in his eyes. The strong man ignored Leo as he followed the coquettish woman and disappeared at the corner of the corridor. Leo put down his arm and looked at the disappearing figure of the coquettish woman. He curved his lip up. Every time doing this silly pose, Leo had countless complaints in his heart. But rationality drove him to finish the whole pose and shout the slogan, "Hail, Hydra!" If Leo showed the slightest disrespect towards the HYDRA, Winter Soldier's iron fist would ruthlessly smash Leo's head. The strong man who walked past just now was Bucky Barnes, Captain America's closest friend during World War II. Later, he was transformed by the HYDRA into Winter Soldier by implanting a chip into his brain to control his mind. Now, he was HYDRA's golden hitman. Being smashed to death by Bucky's iron fist was not the worst result. If one was to fall into the grasp of the coquettish woman, Cynthia Schmidt, it would be worse than death. Cynthia Schmidt, daughter of Red Skull, now was the leader of the HYDRA. She treated everyone mercilessly, whether they were enemies or allies. So, after transmigrating to this world, Leo had been thinking of ways to escape this tiger's den to avoid losing his life in vain. Unfortunately, he had yet to find such an opportunity. "Stop looking, they are gone," an electronically synthesized voice came from Leo's behind. Leo turned his head and saw a headless robot around 1.5 meters in height with 4 limbs. The robot had a screen on its chest, and the screen was an old man with glasses. The old man was Dr. Zola, who had uploaded his consciousness. "She's someone you can't afford to deal with. She can squeeze you dry in just one night, only the Winter Soldier can withstand it. Stop having these kinds of illusions, kid. Have the instruments been adjusted?" "All adjustments have been completed, teacher." Dr. Zola nodded and waddled down along the corridor. Leo hurriedly followed behind Dr. Zola. Leo. Male. Typical transmigrators from the Earth, world transversed, Marvel Universe, identity, Leo Irwin, an Asian young man. Both of his parents were HYDRA agents but died on a mission. The original Leo Irwin position in the base was Dr. Zola's student-cum assistant. For some unknown reason, Leo on Earth woke up as the Leo in Marvel Universe after a sleep. He went through all of the memories of the original Leo Irwin. Therefore, he could act well in the HYDRA base and survive. When he first arrived, Leo was hesitant and afraid. He missed his home dearly because back at his home, he had a beautiful and caring wife and a fraternal twin who just turned 1 month old. But after half a year had passed, Leo could only suppress these feelings deep in his heart. Instead, he started to think about how to survive in this world properly. He could not stay too long in the HYDRA base. Not just because he could not stand the organization's silly pose, but because the people here were familiar with the original Leo Irwin. A little mistake could expose him, just like the original Leo Irwin's mad obsession with the coquettish Cynthia. Hence every time Leo met Cynthia, he had to implicitly express his desire to avoid suspicions. After a while, Leo followed Dr. Zola to the laboratory. After briefly checking the instruments, Dr. Zola said, "As usual, if there's anything important, wake me up using the emergency wake-up function." Dr. Zola explained to Leo, then proceeded to lie down on a special mechanical frame. Dr. Zola uploaded his consciousness onto the computer and paired it with the entire base's network system. His computation speed could surpass the latest Intel processor, but the amount of computation he did every day was too large for his consciousness to bear. So every day Dr. Zola needed 6 hours of sleep on a special device. Doing this not only just recovered his energy. Through the device, Dr. Zola could determine his main consciousness in the countless backups he had around the globe. As Dr. Zola's student.com assistant, every night Leo needed to make adjustments to the sleeping device. So he could be excluded from the night meeting. Teacher, I've been doing this for 8 years and I am very familiar with it. I can even finish it with my eyes closed. You can rest at ease. You better open your eyes. Unfortunately, Dr. Zola was someone who could not understand humor. So he reminded Leo again and again. Leo repeatedly promised and then pulled down a handle, sending Dr. Zola to dreamland. Discover analyzable target, multi-functional self-aware robot. Current completion rate, 50%. That when Leo focused his attention on Dr. Zola's deeply asleep body, a faint green transparent line of words appeared in his vision. Leo muttered, attribute. A list appeared in front of Leo's vision. Name. Leo Irwin class. Mechanic class skill. Mechanical force extraction, mechanical force analysis skill. Basic combat mastery, basic firearm mastery talent. Computations expertise, physics expertise, genetics expertise, knowledge mastered. Computer manufacturing, firearm manufacturing, mechanical force extraction. Mechanic. Exclusive extraction method. Able to extract energy in the universe and convert it to mechanical force. Note. Extraction speed is related to the host constitution and the upper limit of mechanical force can permanently enhance the host constitution. Mechanical force analysis. Spend mechanical force and mental strength to analyze anything. Able to receive related knowledge and blueprint. These were Leo's benefits from transmigrating. The mechanic system, part of the attributes in the system panel now came from the original Leo, while others were what transmigrated Leo learned through mechanical force analysis, such as firearm manufacturing. This was also the chance for Leo to survive in this world and his reliance to escape from the HYDRA base. After all, the Marvel Universe was a place where gods and demons were everywhere and superheroes and criminals were as many as dogs. The Earth in this universe was constantly facing the danger of destruction. However, the current timeline was still relatively in the past. Captain America was still sleeping under the Arctic ice, Thor was still in Asgard proving himself to be a worthy successor, Bruce Banner had not mutated yet and Tony Stark had not made his iron suit yet, because at a meeting 2 months ago, Cynthia had proposed a plan to kill Howard Stark, but the plan had not been put into action. So the time now was still early. Leo did not have to worry about being the lucky half chosen by the purple potato. There was still a lot of time for Leo to grow. Especially with the mechanic system, which gave Leo endless potential. After half a year of fumbling, Leo was familiar with the system. Dr. Zola's robotic body with a 50% completion rate was Leo this 4 months result. Begin analysis. Leo stared at Dr. Zola with the mechanic force in his eyes, as if he had seen through everything. After a while, his fully accumulated mechanical force had been emptied by half. The accumulation this past few days had increased the completion rate by 1%, reaching 51%. Based on the situation, it would take a few months for Leo to completely analyze the robot. There was an upper limit for Leo's mechanical force, and the upper limit of mechanical force was related to his constitution. The increase of mechanical force can strengthen his body constitution. The mechanical force and body constitution form wonderful positive feedback closed loop. However, the actual situation was that after half a year of mechanical force extraction, Leo's constitution barely surpassed that of a well-trained soldier. The amount of mechanical force he had can barely support simple actions such as taking out his handgun from his waist. After the mechanical force had been emptied completely, Leo could not use mechanical force analysis again anymore. He closed the light in the laboratory, making a perfect sleeping environment for Dr. Zola. He went to the room next to the laboratory and started the extraction of mechanical force. More than an hour later, Leo's mechanical force was back to full. But he did not return back to the laboratory and analyze Dr. Zola's robotic body in the past. Every time Dr. Zola went to sleep, Leo could only analyze 3 times before his mental strength could not hold up. He needed a good sleep to recover, but today Leo had a much more important analysis target, and the completion rate would be full by today. This was his first powerful weapon in the past 6 months. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Leo quickened his steps towards the northern side of the base. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.